great leaders are willing to sacrifice money to save their people. But who are leaders sacrifice their people to save money? Coming up. President Cyril Ramaphosa has declared a week of mourning for the 14 South African soldiers who were killed in the DRC. What shocked me, guys, was Cyril's statement insisting that SANDF, our soldiers, went to DRC as a peacekeeping force between M23 and DRC soldiers, even if there is an overwhelming evidence that that was not the case. This guy.
We gather here as we mourn the death and tragic death and devastating loss of 14 South African soldiers who were part of a mission to bring peace to the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. We pay tribute and bow our heads to Staff Sergeant William Eddie Ola, Staff Sergeant Mulahlehi Ishmael Mulahlehi, Staff Sergeant Shahlane Theophilus Siepe, Corporal Matume Justice Malisa, Corporal Renae Nemabulani, Lance Bombardier Itumeleng McDonald Mureo, Lance Corporal Zeke Moffat Molapo, Lance Corporal Metsi Stensley Raswiswi, Rifleman Sibatane Richard Chokwe, Rifleman Derek Maluleke, Rifleman Sidiso Andris Mabele, Rifleman Calvin Louis Moahi, Rifleman Moketi Joseph Mobe, Private Peter Jacobus Strado. Speaker, I thank you for getting us to honor these fallen heroes. I have directed that a national flag be flown at half-mast in honor of these fallen heroes for a week starting from tomorrow morning. Alongside soldiers from other southern African countries, they lost their lives in defense of the fundamental right of the Congolese people to live in peace and security. They lost their lives not in the pursuit of resources or territory or power. They lost their lives so that the guns on our continent may be forever silenced. So we salute them.
Now, first of all, guys, the M23 are not Rwandese. The M23, they are Tutsis, yes, but they are Congolese. They've been to Congo way back, even before 1994 genocide. So somebody may ask, how did they end up in Congo? You will remember that years back, our colonizers, when they were dividing the Africa, they sometimes could cut through the same nation. Okay? So they just cut through and they say, okay, this is DRC and this is Rwanda. So that's how those Tutsis ended up in Congo. Okay, they've been there way back. But now the government of DRC, or the DRC government, started isolating these Tutsis. And when the government of Congo was administering the country, he could always isolate these Tutsis, telling them to go back to Rwanda. Yet these Tutsis are Congolese. Now that's how now those Tutsis rose up to defend their motherland. They That's where now this M23 emanated from.
The people that are fighting as M23 are of Tutsi stock, but they are Congolese. They come from around Kivu. The fact that a boundary was drawn by the colonialists and put them in a country that is now known as DRC, at one time was known as Zaire or Congo Kinshasa, does not make them Rwandese. So the M23 was formed deliberately because the people who are then christened as the Banyamulenge thought that they were being discriminated against. They thought that the Congolese administration in Kinshasa was telling them to go to Rwanda, which is not their country. And this is something that has been debated over time. In 1996, when the country was still known as Zaire, the former president of Tanzania, the late Julius Kambarage Nyerere, in 1996, when delivering a speech in New York under the Peace Academy, said that we must be very clear that the Banyamulenge are not Rwandese. The Banyamulenge or the Tutsi who are to be found or who are found in Kivu are Congolese. Because the colonialist border put them in DRC, Congo, and some in Tutsi, does not make them Rwandese. So the M23 was created deliberately for the purpose of protecting the interests of the Tutsis who are Congolese citizens. However, it must be understood that there have been accusations and counter-accusations, with the administration in Kinshasa saying that the Rwanda administration is aiding the M23. Rwanda on her part has said that because the war spills over into Rwanda occasionally, they are always on a defensive and sometimes in an offensive mode. And you will remember that when Felix Tshisekedi took over power, there was a time indeed when he visited Kigali and gave the Rwandese the right to move into the territory of Congo to deal with other rebel groups which were a threat to Rwanda, in the same way that he also did to the Ugandans. The fallout now is that diplomatically there is now a problem between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the accusations are that the Rwandese administration is using M23 to destabilize DRC and also to take resources.
Now, the government of DRC, or shall I say the DRC government, as he is fighting these M23s or Tutsis, telling them to go back to Rwanda. How can they go back to Rwanda when they are not Rwandese? Now, that's where now Rwanda government, Kagame, comes in. Now, he comes in, then of course, he supplies these soldiers, these M23 soldiers, with weaponry. They have got guns for days. Okay? Although, of course, Kagame denies all that. Hence, now these M23 could be able to push the DRC government soldiers. And M23 said, ha, we are winning. Then they made sure that they cover all the place. They win all the area that is rich in minerals. The Goma areas, all the areas that are strategically rich in minerals. Now tell me, now when South Africa comes there, it didn't come and say, both of you wait. M23, Congo government, wait. That's how they're supposed to approach this whole thing, as peacemakers. But look what SANDF did. They came and they joined the DRC government to fight M23. And of course, the rest is history. It happened that M23 were well trained and very, very, very good in the battle. And of course, they've got guns and they've got weapons for days. And hence, they could be able to push everyone. But now, when South Africa joined DRC government, Is that peacekeeping? No, it's not. Hence, Kagame said, what do you South Africans want there? Because you didn't speak the peace language. You came, you joined the DRC government against M23. So obviously, when you do that, you declare war already. Then M23 Yabatelindo.
For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo, that these are from Rwanda, or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says, no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are He keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about. Maybe they should have done that exactly for which they have been issuing threats. They should have done it to clean up the mess in Eastern Congo, or to fight back those who have been trying to clean up the mess.
Hence I'm saying, guys, South Africa SADF soldiers were not supposed to be there at all, because the person who's messing up this whole thing is the DRC government, who's chasing people who are Congolese, who's isolating those people, telling them to go back to Rwanda. The DRC government is the one who's supposed to sort this thing. Simple as that. The rest of the guys who are there, South Africans, Europeans, all these guys who are there, they are just there to support the DRC government so that they can get the minerals. They're just there for minerals. Nothing else. I believe that with all of my heart.
Brave and courageous members of the South African National Defence Force and our loyal and patriotic South African society, I come to you as a commander of the Armed Forces of South Africa to thank you for always standing by your defence force at all times, even in moments of calamity. We in the South African National Defence Force come from the people and serve for the people. As such, we will march together with our people in the defence of our beloved South Africa, our motherland. It is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today to address the tragic loss of our brave South African National Defence Force soldiers who lost their lives in the DRC. These soldiers were part of Southern African Development Community Mission in the DRC, SAMI DRC, and the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the DRC, MONUSCO. Both MONUSCO and SAMI DRC share a common mandate to support regional and international efforts in achieving lasting peace and security in the DRC. SAMI DRC and FIB, which is a component of MONUSCO, were both deployed with the mandate, among others, to support the Democratic Republic of Congo in neutralizing negative forces and armed groups in the eastern DRC in order to restore and maintain peace and security and create a secure environment. They were also to provide support to the efforts of the government of the DRC in creating a conducive environment for humanitarian assistance and providing humanitarian relief to the population affected by the military and paramilitary activities in the eastern DRC, including internally displaced persons. protect critical infrastructure in the Eastern DRC, and protect civilians and their properties under imminent threat of attack. The circumstances leading to this tragic event are complex and multifaceted. SAMI DRC, comprising soldiers from Malawi, South Africa, and Tanzania, was deployed in December 2023 to the eastern part of the DRC. Their main operating base was established in Sake, near the city of Goma, an area plagued by violence and instability for many years. The primary threat in this area comes from the rebel group that is alleged to be armed, supported, trained, and accompanied by the Rwandan Defense Force. SAMI DRC conducted its mandated tasks and, in the process, faced intermittent bombardment from M23 throughout the year 2024. In response, our forces executed counter-bombardments. On the fateful day of 23rd January 2025, the M23 rebels launched a full-scale attack on our troops in an attempt to take control of Sake, aiming to gain access to Goma, the provincial capital of Eastern DRC. Fierce fighting ensued, and our soldiers displayed extraordinary bravery and determination. They successfully halted the M23 advancement and pushed them back, preventing the rebels from achieving their objective. However, this decisive pushback at Sake came at a great cost, resulting in the loss of 13 of our gallant fighters. Regrettably, on Monday, the 27th January 2025, several long-range mortar bombs were launched towards Goma Airport, with some landing in the South African National Defense Force base, leading to the loss of 3 additional South African National Defense Force soldiers.
The difference between peacekeepers and fighters, because it seems natural that they would be in live combat as they're fighting on the side of the Congolese against the rebel groups. Just help us understand this, that why MPs seem to be unaware of why this deployment was made, when it was made, again, the minutes and all of that are available, and the fact that we were sending these soldiers to be part of live combat.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. There seem to be contradiction every time, but I think we should clear this. The SANDF or SADC mission to the Congo is not a peacekeeping mission. It is not a peacekeeping mission. That is an intervention force which should have been prepared thoroughly to take on any other threat which we appreciated. And I want to guess that there was a meeting, planning meeting in the Defense Force, where an appreciation was presented by Defense Intelligence of what our forces should expect. And we are in this situation still having confusion, talking peacekeeping, talking this. There is no peacekeeping force of SADC forces in the shape of SADC forces. Now, we need to understand that we are in this situation, perhaps because even our soldiers were not thoroughly briefed as to what to expect and what the true nature of their mission is. Because if they were briefed, they would not be in this situation. They will not be frog-marched today to Sake. And the equipment, they are being told at 3 o'clock, the equipment is so much that I don't think all the equipment they will be able to remove from their base in Goma. Some will remain there. Now, this shows that I don't think, perhaps some of us are skeptical, but I don't see how this confusion about the nature of our deployment. Secondly, the President of the Republic, before or immediately after deployment, if the deployment is urgent, the President of the Republic reports to Parliament. And he gives Parliament a detailed political understanding of why we are deploying in a particular place. So the President must have given that briefing to Parliament. And Parliament shocked me yesterday. There were some there in Parliament, but I thought or maybe because they were not there, it is a new parliament, then they didn't understand, or they were not privy to the briefing by the president. But that is what should have happened. Now, I want to rush to the so-called negative forces in the DRC. I want to remind people that, you know, Joseph Kabila, during his beginning of his second term, the president of the Congo, approached Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, and said, you always say there is Interahamwe, which is ready to fight the government of Rwanda. We are not aware of them. Please, now I give you a free hand. Go into the forest there, clear the Interahamwe from there, and then we will all live in peace and happily. Kagame responded, and he sent his forces. After 2-3 months, Kagame then said we are going back. And Joseph Kabila asked, are you now sure that you have cleared all the Interahamwe from there? He says, yes, we have cleared them. So this is the nature of things. This is the reality of what is happening. Paul Kagame is not about Interahamwe in Congo. Paul Kagame is about looting the Congo. That's all.
Why are you minister? And why is the president lying to us about the nature of the operation that we have in the DRC? It is not a peacekeeping mission. It is an offensive mission, and it is defined as such by the SADC. Therefore, you knew that our soldiers were going to be shot at, and you knew that you're sending our young men into the DRC to die in the killing fields of the DRC. You did not have the ammunition, you did not have the supplies, you did not have the money to have sent them, but you sent them to die for the mineral wealth that is being looked after, the mines that are being looked after, that belongs to Cyril Ramaphosa, his family, and his friends. On all sides, we have a defense of the mineral wealth rather than for the people of the DRC.
What is the specific role of the South African National Defence Force in the Congo, and in whose interest is our mission in the Congo? Whose peace and stability are we pursuing in the Congo? Is peace and stability for the continent, or peace and stability for mining interests of global capitalists?
Now, the issue of peacekeeping is the story from Cyril and his ministers. It's just for media and for us South Africans to think that our soldiers went to DRC as a peacekeeping force. Hence, I believe with all of my heart that Cyril really has sacrificed our soldiers in DRC, Congo, for nothing but resources and power. And just when the SONA 2025 was getting underway, then Imbongi, a 19-year-old Inako Mateza, took the center stage and started praising Cyril Ramaphosa. And I liked it when you called him Cupcake. Listen to this.
my cupcake. I actually saw the president blushing there just a little bit as he was being called Cupcake. Only 19 and such a huge voice. Inako is with me here at the Artscape. Inako, thank you very much for joining us on the South African Morning. Take me back to where it all began, to find yourself, having to introduce the first citizen of the country
Ndiyabulela kakhulu sisi wam, mandiqale ndibulise ke emakhaya ndithi Maqabo Mthika Qamata, ndivumeleni kaloku nikani indlebe zifumane ukutya kwazo. Igama lam ndingu-Inako, ifani ke ndinguMatheza. Njengokuba usowutshilo ndiyintwazana ke eneminyaka eyi-19, kodwa ke xa sendikubuyisela umva ndikunabisela ngolu hambo lwam lokuba yimbongi, ndifuna ukuqalisela mhlanda ndizalwa ngomnyaka ka-2005. Mna ke ndazalwa ndingumntwana wohlukileyo kwabanye abantwana ngendlela yokubana mna ndathi ndazalwa ndaba ngumntwana wesingxobo. Ndiyathemba ukubana umntwana wesingxobo uyamazi, kuye kuthiwe ngumntwana wamanyange ke, izinto ezinjalo. Kodwa xa sendiyonyusela ke le nto mna akuphelelanga apho. Ootishala bam esikolweni ukusukela kunyaka ka-2012 baye babona ke apho ukubana ndihlakaniphile, baqalisa ke undihambisa amakhuphiswano. Kodwa ke amakhuphiswano adibaniselene nezifundo. Ndatshintsha ke isikolo ndaye kwesinye esaziwa ngokuba yingubetho lebham junior secondary school ngonyaka ka-2016. Xa ndifika ke phayana abafundisintsapho babona ngaphezu koba bebona ukubana ndihlakaniphele incwadi, bandifaka kwizinto ezifana nokwenza imibongo, intetho elungiselelweyo nentetho engalungiselelwanga. Bendithi ke xa ndingenelela amakhuphiswano uyofumanisa ukubana noba ndingenele kweyiphi i-level, noba yi-provincial noba yi-national level, ndakusoloko ndiphuma uposition 1.
Oh man, I love this very much. I love this very much. So what do you think, guys, especially about our soldiers in DRC, Congo? Do we think they're just there as peacekeeping force, or they're just there to fulfill other agendas for the benefit of the capitalists and the elites? If you're coming for the first time, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.